welcome to my channel. You got me in stitches. I'm Anna. Also a very warm welcome to Deconstruct, Reconstruct, Vintage Style. I hope everybody has had a wonderful week. Okay, so over my shoulder, the frock still looks a little bit unfinished. I think on part one we finished with the different neckline, and so the journey continues. Oh, there was an incredible amount of work getting that quick arm pick out and just ripping all those seams and all the details on the hem and the neckline and everything. Also double checking that the fabric was in really good condition considering how old the dress may be. I still think it's the 60s, but it could possibly be late 50s. Again, there was no clue, and yeah, but overall fantastic. All the lining and the main fabric was in impeccable condition. So if you would like to see the continuation of the journey of what's left, there are some side seams to stitch up and all the lining inside to kind of reconfigure it, because I've nipped it in places, laid it out in other places. So yeah, if that's what you'd like to see, then come on everybody, follow me and we will get this frock finished. Right, so before I start stitching, I'll just show you a little bit closer. So the sponge detail that they have used here, I have left as is. I've stitched the shoulder line of the main fabric and obviously the lining fabric. If we just follow that down, as you can see, very scandalous. I thought, yeah, shall I just leave it like that and just put a little thing across? Yeah, so the side panels of the main fabric need to get sewn back into there, which I have both of them in my hand. So as you can see, it will be a little jigsaw puzzle, and also there, that's the original stitching line. Everything obviously was pressed, so off camera I have remeasured everything because the waist just needs to come out a little bit for an extra bit of space, whilst kind of lower down it can be kind of left as is. So I will gradually stitch and perhaps follow the same original line as I get further down. If not, I may just bring it in a little bit. So yeah, and it looks an absolute bundle of mess, but everything has been noted on the lining so I know which piece is which. So that one's number 11, so that one would be 12, and so on. And there's, yeah, you can kind of see now how that's the arm side of the lining. Okay everybody, so I think we're going to start stitching. Okay, I am reinstalling the zipper, and this is a vintage metal teeth zipper, and the other one was, yeah, just an absolute disaster. So yeah, that's the left side, and I'm going to reinstall the zipper like they did, so there is going to actually be stitching line on the outside. So these are just the true back pieces, as you can see. So going to stitch that together now. Okay, everything looks like chaos. Well, yes it is, but organised chaos. So I am pinning the side seams along those side panels, and good little trick is to make a note so that would be back left, and that's the underarm. And I have also put the numbers and everything, so everything corresponds. Just a little trick of mine. So I'm going to start sewing after I've pinned all these panels back together. Let's have a chat about the finished garment that I have completed. Now, I know sometimes, you know, garments give us a bit of a journey. Wow, definitely a bumpy journey with this one. Okay, so I will have a chat through it. I feel very disheartened. I feel a little embarrassed when I flip the camera around and show you guys all the stitching and everything. I don't know, just a couple of things were against me, and it's actually quite shocking. And yeah, I don't know, a bit embarrassing to show you guys, but you know what, it's all part of anything and everything, not just sewing. You know, you got to sort of take the rough with the smooth, and yeah, this was a bit of a bumpy journey. Now, let's start with the neckline. Again, the actual preparing of the neckline was straightforward, and cutting out and stitching. It was attaching the lining to the square neckline, and I think it was because I used the original sponge and wanted to, you know, keep the originality as much as possible, albeit that I was, you know, making different alterations to it. And I think where the lining just doesn't quite sit flat enough, it just rolls just a tiny bit, and therefore I had to put a stitching line on the outside, which I don't really like doing. Overall, it's not too noticeable because the slubs in the fabric and everything, and it's very sort of worn, the fabric, you know, there's little bits of sort of fray throughout, and it just creates a lot of extra texture, which doesn't matter too much because, like I said, the fabric itself has got lots of slubs on it. Yeah, so I think I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to do it another time, maybe near the end of the year or something, and sort of revisit this and reconfigure that neckline. I'm going to keep it as is. I just think the sponge, maybe it was just a little bit too close to the raw edge. So when you put the two fabrics together, the extra bulk. So if I just pulled it away a little bit from so close to the raw edges, it would have just had a little bit of space to manoeuvre, and then the two fabrics would have laid a lot more flat. But you know, that's the way it is. The seam lines all the way around all the panels, that was straightforward. So, you know, just reconfigured that. It was just a little bit tied around the rib cage area, and I think I enlarged it a good almost an inch. You know, the complete measurement and everything. The hem, again, that was relatively straightforward. All I did, recreate what they did, and just double flipped and run stitching lines along it. The lining inside, it was, although it was really good condition in the sense of looking at it, it was a little bit frayed. Oh, and that's another thing, the actual main fabric. Oh my gosh, guys, seriously, that frayed. You just looked at it and it frayed, and I think that was sort of part of, you know, the headache with it all. And, you know, they didn't really finish. It was bizarre because some of the raw edges, they actually did a few straight stitches and then just didn't in just the most part of the whole garment. Very, very strange. And obviously there's not as much fabric in those almost cap sleeves. They're not completely cap sleeves. And just under the arm side part, so when you're reconfiguring everything and just making it a little bit bigger, obviously you're losing the amount of fabric. So, and with the fraying, it was just pulling apart. Again, I did a few sewing tricks with the stitches and everything, and also by doing that you're strengthening the fabric as well. Yeah, I mean, overall it's good, but it's just not my good sort of standard that I was expecting for myself. I mean, it is. I personally, I think it's shocking. You know I'm my worst critic and everything. I think the only good thing really was the hemming, sizes, and actually the back zipper, because usually, would you call it arch nemesis zippers? It's just like, yeah, that went in really well. Did a double stitching line on it, and again, that double stitching line, now that was shocking. Yeah, but the worst was that square neckline and attaching the lining. But again, I put that down to the sponge. So when I get the quick unpick out and seam rip it all again around that neckline and move it, if it works out when I do that, then obviously that was just a small little indiscretion there with the sponge, and that's all it needed. But if it still doesn't lay as flat as it should, then I will have to omit the sponge completely and, you know, tidy up the raw edges and stabilise them before attaching the lining. So yeah, it's a good fit. It's actually a little bit too big now, but that's okay. You know, again, I could just nip it in a little bit. It was just the fabric, I don't know, although I kept as much as I could the original, and whoever constructed the garment, you know, on closer inspection, as much as the actual fabric itself was very good condition, it was just, I think, some of their techniques, and also wear and time and history, and, you know, you don't know what this journey the dress has gone on, so it's gone through probably different hands. You know, it may not necessarily have been packed away in a trunk in an attic somewhere, who knows. I'm sure it had lots of wear at it. It looks like it's had lots of wear. Now the strange thing is, now I know I'm weird, but when I was doing the seam ripping, I know this is going to sound really weird, and on older garments, you know, like years ago, many years ago especially, they used to sort of hide things in the seams and everything, and whilst I was doing that, and again with the sponge and that, I kind of thought I would come across like a little treasure or something. I don't know, it was just an overwhelming feeling. I didn't find anything, although that said, I have found things in the garments over the years, and yeah, like a tiny little coin, or yeah, little bits of paper, but you can't quite make out the writing on them because, you know, it's faded over the years, and, you know, through the laundry and everything, people are not going to know, they're not going to unstitch seams to, you know, find discoveries. But yeah, and that just, I don't know, just one of those strange feelings. But yeah, didn't find anything. Would have been lovely had I of, and then I could have showed you guys. So yeah, I'll flip the camera around, I'll just show you what I've done so you can see visually. Like I said, please guys, look away. I mean, it's just terrible. So okay, well, I'll flip the camera around. Let's start with this dreaded neckline. I mean, straight away, I mean, it's got a little sort of wobble there. You can see that I have run that stitch line down. And again, now you can see it just slightly curling there. I think just where that bulk of the sponge is just pushing the two fabrics, and it's just, yeah, it's peeking out. It is. And again, it's not too bad around the side parts. It's just, I think, just these edges in this front. Yeah, it's just slightly, only ever so slightly, just sort of pulling or dragging, if you like. Right, let's flip this. So that's the shoulder seams. Now, this fabric also, you will see, like there, all the little tiny bits of thread. There are absolutely trillions of little bits of thread ends, because those lines, when I was seam ripping, oh, they're just like absolute, they're all over. So again, I've got most of them off, but it was just taking forever to get them off, and I thought, well, I need to present the finished garment to you guys. So I've got a few little tricks that get all these little bits off. On there you can see, just there, adds to the shall we say decoration to the fabric. Okay, zipper. Now, as you saw, it was a lap zipper. Again, look, see, there's the lining. But the lap zipper overall, that's sitting relatively well. Just come down in the zipper, and I am quite proud of. I've got that sitting, you know, really flat and flush to the fabric. I come down to the hem. So all I did, let me just pause it a sec. So there's the hem. I flipped it over twice and just ran a stitching line. You can see there the seam allowances I've left as is. Again, if I come back to this, I will tidy those up. What I'll do, I'll flip this inside out, guys. There, so on this particular raw edge, I don't know if you can see, but like I just said, look, there you go. They had started to put stitching, and then you follow it up, and then there's nothing. It's just really strange. Let me just flip it round. See, on there, no stitching lines at all on those edges. And then, see where else? No. Oh, there you go, and there's a little bit there. It's just really, I don't know, just there you go, part stitching, and then they just didn't carry on. Yeah, believe it or not, I have tidied these edges up, and like I said, they are just falling apart. So again, I will revisit that, and I will tidy that up, and I will carry on doing what they have done and flip that over and do a single stitch line. Yeah. So yeah, see that all these thousands of bits. It was an absolute nightmare getting all these off, and as you can see, I've still got a whole bunch to go just to tidy up and remove. So, okay, let's pull the lining down. So I'll start with the neckline, I think, on this lining. Yeah. Now I've flipped it this way, actually you can see where it's actually slightly curling there. So yeah, and you can feel, I think it's just nicked the sponge a little bit, and so it's pulled the lining up. Hence why when you see it on the correct side, it's just slightly pulling. But again, lining is lining, so I don't want to bore you. And yep, that was relatively straightforward. Just did as is and nipped it in, followed the stitching as was. I didn't need, I kept the hem as they have. Yeah, so and the darts and everything, that stayed the same. Okay, I will flip the camera back around and look at you when I'm talking to you. So this is the finished garment, and overall I'm okay. I'm not going to call it a fail. It's, yeah, got to rediscover little bits that are just, yeah, need a little bit of extra attention. Right, so I hope you have enjoyed part 2 and seen the finished result. And again, let me know in the comments any tips or anything that you can advise. All is welcome. All there is for me to say is thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel. And tune in for next Wednesday for another Deconstruct, Reconstruct. Have a great week, and also I will see you guys on Sunday. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Take care.